Hello everyone, Adela here. Thank you for joining. This is the very first episode of a series I'm super excited about. Um, the amazingly talented, knowledgeable, and overall beautiful inside and out Araceli Gallego is going to be joining me once a month as we talk about all things fashion and more particularly fashion sustainability. Every month, we're going to be talking about one specific subject and about our thoughts on it and things that we have been learning. And we are going to start with something very current, which is um, the effect of the pandemic in fashion consumerism. Give a round of applause to Araceli. Hi, Ada.
Hello, Adela, cariño. How are you?
I'm well. I'm really excited to have you here so we can start this thing. And we are live. Yes.
Thank you so much, Adela, for making this possible. Honestly, you are an ace.
And now we're talking in Spanish. I think it's going like with a little bit of backlog. Sorry about that. If you just tuned in, welcome to this very first installment of what I hope is a very long collaboration between yours truly and this lovely lady to my side, virtually,
And yours truly.
Araceli Gallego. So if you do not know who she is, I don't know where have you been hitting, especially if you live in Dubai, you must have been hitting under a rock because she's probably the most prominent face on fashion sustainability in the UAE. And actually, you have very, very good news this week. Are you allowed to share? Or is that no? Okay, so just stay tuned. Sorry about that. Anyway, just go follow her and go follow GoShopia. And so basically, she knows a lot about fashion. She is super passionate about sustainability in particular, and she has been doing a lot of work, but you can tell that yourself. And she's also a very dear personal friend of mine. So we have been wanting to collaborate for a very long time. And here it is, finally. We are going to be tuning in every month, ideally the first Thursday of every month, but you know, it's a pandemic, so things can happen. And we're going to be talking about different things about the present and future in fashion, particularly from a sustainability point of view. Araceli, can you tell the maybe 3 people that's probably going to watch that what you do?
Well, I am the founder of GoShopia, which is the first e-marketplace for slow and sustainable fashion in the Middle East. We are based here in Dubai, and all these dreams are possible thanks to amazing, gorgeous friends like Adela, that is a big supporter of whatever crazy stuff
yes.
I come up with. And so, yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. So yeah, I started GoShopia like 2 years and a half ago, more or less, out of sheer need, because when you are a conscious consumer, you realize how difficult it is to actually find clothes that suit your values, you know. So I wasn't able to find options, and that's why I started it. And I'm very happy I did, because there were more people in this same journey that I was, and it's good, you know. It feels really good to be able to assist and to bring something new and refreshing, and use fashion as a force for good, because there can be sides of it. So yeah, I'm super happy. Thanks for the opportunity, Adela.
This is so important, and especially in a region like Middle East. But we're not going to be talking about that today. That's another of the things we need to talk about. Today we wanted
That's
to.
another thing. Yeah, that's a.
Today we wanted to do a little bit of a reflection on how the pandemic and everything that goes with the pandemic has affected fashion, has affected the way we dress, the way we shop, the way we understand and enjoy fashion. Because let's be honest here for a second, this pandemic has affected and affected absolutely every aspect of our lives. And I think a lot of the ideas and a lot of the concepts that we just took for granted and that were given, suddenly we're questioning, like, you know, you cannot wear sweatpants when you're having a meeting. And now it's like, but why is that? Or your cat cannot be on a business call. And we are like, yes, but why? Right? So obviously, working in fashion and working with people who really enjoy fashion and people who produce or sell fashion for a living, we are asking those kind of questions as well. Well, from your side, how have you, from your own personal experience, how have you experienced this pandemic in terms of work and in terms of your lifestyle? Because I think it starts from there, right? Like, we dress how we live, and the first thing that affects how we're going to dress is how our lives have changed, right?
Yeah, exactly. We dress for the occasions that we are going to be attending on the day. If you have a meeting, or if you have, I don't know, if you're gonna just casually meet your girlfriends or something, definitely it has affected us big time. Most of the people were not able to go out. The events were canceled. So, for example, in the case of Goshopia, we saw a huge dramatic impact on all the party dresses category. Nothing was moving there. It's normal. Where are you going to be partying? You know what I mean? Like,
Look at the wedding industry.
Yeah, totally. Halas.
But
So
did you see a lot of people who were planning to get dressed and to get married and had this whole thing? There has been people who have postponed it because they still want things done a certain way. But there has also been people who are like, you know what? I don't need that. I just want to get married, and then they do something small, something more symbolic. So it's about breaking those standard patterns that seem to be like a rule, and then you realize that
we came up very creative. We've seen people that were getting married through Zoom. We've seen people. I'm not only meaning the fact that the family were in Zoom. I mean, like, the bride and the groom were in different areas of the world. They couldn't travel because of the travel ban, and they were getting married in any case. As you said, now it's more about what is important and what is the bottom of things, and not necessarily to follow a particular protocol or a stereotype of things that as we had before, like, oh, I want my wedding, I want to have this dress, I have to have 1 million people attending my wedding. No, that all is finished, that all is gone, and we have to adapt. That's it. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And Zoom, I think Zoom and the work from office has impacted so much. Oh.
The work from home, yeah. Well, you know, maybe you, if you're watching, don't, but I've actually been an advocate, and I've been actively working remotely and working from home or working from cafes and everything for like 3 years now. And I have always been like telling people, but this is important and this is possible. And people were looking at me like, that's crazy. Like, very little jobs can be done remotely. And now, I mean, I'm very sad that a pandemic had to happen, but we're seeing that that's not possible. That's not the case. And but
very true.
Of course,
you know what happened? It was, I think it was good, because in your case, you're a digital nomad, and in your case, you were choosing your clients. This was the way that you were working. So your clients were kind of like, okay, we're going to be working with Adela. She's a super professional. We want her and we don't want anybody else. And that's why we're going to go with her way of living, which is traveling the world, enjoying different places, learning while you're working and traveling. Now, I think thanks to the pandemic, the clients or the companies have actually started to realize, why were we so stiff about coming to the office when in reality there is no need? Because many employees were going to the office even if they didn't need to. You know, if their jobs could, as you were very well said, if they could have totally been 100% digital from the beginning of the pandemic.
It's not only that. You know what? I'm just gonna I heard your notification and I'm going to close WhatsApp because this is going to happen. It's not only that. I think companies are now seeing this as, oh, now we need to offer flexibility. But the thing is, do you know the possibilities that this open for companies, that you can recruit from all over the world without having the issues of visas, having the issues of relocation, without having, like, you could have,
without having to pay a huge rent.
But imagine, for example, companies in the Middle East, a fashion company in the Middle East, that they are sourcing, like, they're hiring talent from Europe for design. Why do you need to bring this person when they can be working from their house in London, and they have access to those trends that are generated in Europe, which is why you're hiring them on the first place, and you're taking them from that environment that is actually generating that. And then they can come to Dubai maybe thrice a year or something. I don't know, like, I think this opens a lot of possibilities. And I think this is pointing out what's important and what's not important. And it's pointing out that a person to be professional doesn't need to be wearing an uncomfortable suit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think the office wear attire already changed a lot in the past 10 years. And my theory is that the main, like, the gatekeeper in this was the TED Talks, because traditionally the people who know a lot about stuff were always very well dressed, because we're talking about conferences and we're talking about lectures and universities. And then TED Talks come in, and you have the best knowing people of the world. You have guys on shorts and t-shirts telling you this is how you should do things. And you have tech millionaires in Silicon Valley who wear only sweatshirts. And there are people who know, and there are people who are successful. And then the idea of how a successful person looks like change.
Changing.
Yeah. And the same way
of success is changing in itself. Yeah. You realize, like, I think in the 90s, in the 2000s, we were very much materialistic. And now, I don't know if it's maybe because of the pandemic, going back to what is important. I feel now when I speak to my friends and family, right now there is a coming back to, oh, we want health, we want happiness, we want to feel aligned. The idea of success has changed back again, I think, you know?
Yes.
It's a feeling, it's an emotion. It's not, oh, I want the biggest car, or I want the biggest house, or I want the, you know, whatever. That doesn't make the same, I don't know, that I don't see that as open as before. It's my
100%. But I think even for the people whose concept of success, it's still money and cars and whatever, the idea of how a successful person looks like has changed. Because you have, if you look at the most prominent successful, like, in the traditional sense of the word, people dress in the past decades, you have Steve Jobs and his black thing that go to the 80s. That's how, I don't know, a sad poet on an open mic is going to be dressing, not like the CEO of the #1 tech company in the world, right? Or you have Mark Zuckerberg with his gray t-shirt, or this is how you picture a millionaire. So that has to somehow translate to the office somehow. Like, when I started working, you wouldn't see a man. I'm talking especially about men, because I think women, especially in creative companies, in fashion companies, not luxury. That's a whole other story, because luxury is like a runway, working on a luxury company. But, in high street, we have a little bit more leeway. But men, you wouldn't see a man without a blazer when I started working, or at least a collared shirt. And when I was working in Dubai, that it's a bit more conservative than Europe in terms of, protocol.
Yeah.
At least the design team and the marketing team, they were wearing whatever, sneakers and joggers and t-shirts and really whatever. And I think that's really cool. I think how you dress is important and tells something about you, but it shouldn't always be, I came here to work, which I think it's the only thing a suit and a tie is saying. I came here to work, and I am aware that I'm here to work. I don't know, what do you think?
I think definitely we are getting very flexible when it comes to dressing. The coats are getting more relaxed, and I think we are looking for more comfort than anything else. Also, when we are working, I think that before it was this idea, and also was coming from the employers, not only from the employees, what they were expecting and who was reputable enough or kind of like perceived as an authority to actually be promoted. That's why everyone was trying to abide by those standards. But I think now with the work from home situation, with the fact that you can actually be taking, be doing amazing work, and proof of that is that we survived the pandemic. Most of us in PJs.
Look at that.
It's actually, yeah. You see, so this is the thing. I think fashion is going to be always there, and fashion for all of us is a way we express ourselves. But right now we are in a moment that I think maybe because we are struggling with the situation, we want comfort in our bodies, you know what I mean? So that's why I think we are kind of like balancing. I think everything is about a balance at the end of the day. What we are missing one place, maybe we're trying to put it in elsewhere, and I think it's kind of like that, what's happening at the moment. Even if you have a blazer, now you look for, at least in my case, now I look for it to be very comfortable. Before, maybe when I was younger, I would say, oh my God, it needs to really look preppy and cute and nice. Now it's like, no, it has to be comfortable because it needs to sound my rhythm, and I need to be able to do this and that and move from one place to another. Da, 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 da. So I think that the idea of comfort is really what is underlying everything.
They have seen this, there's been a trend throughout the pandemic, and there's an increase in sales and increase in search of soft and comfortable things. And this is something that we need to understand, that the abstract concepts in our brain are kind of stored sort of together, So even something like, they have seen that the area of the brain that activates when you are physically disgusted, like when something smells bad, is the same like when you see someone doing something that you consider morally wrong. And that's a different kind of disgust, but overall it's the same, right? It's connected. The same happens with concepts such as comfort and safety and softness and things. So we lack a sense of comfort, and we lack a sense of easiness and smoothness, right? And when we are
certainty at this moment,
yes, but I don't know how you translate certainty to fabric, but that's, we need things to be smoother, and we need things to be easier, and then people feel that need of buying something that it's easy to wear and easy to put on and take off. And I think they should do like further studies on that, but I would expect sales for example, hoodies against zip-up hoodies to be going up, and all those kind of things, because of the conceptual understanding of those things. But I have seen this. So I'm right now in my hometown in southern Spain, in Cordoba, which is a mid-sized town for Spain. I think it's like 10 or 12 in size. Anyway, here traditionally, or what I'm used to seeing, is people always looking top notch. Like, it is a small city in Spain, but you go in the center and people were dressed like if you go to Milan or Florence, right? And I was always super self-conscious because I don't get dressed like this if I'm going to a supermarket, And women always look perfect. you know, like perfect makeup, perfect hair, perfect outfit. And I had not been in Spain for like, I think 16 or 18 months until I came in October. And the first day walking through like the one of the pedonal streets, pedestrian streets in the center, I was shocked because suddenly people were wearing sweatshirts and sneakers outside of the gym. Like, what is this? I had never seen this in my life here. Normally, you would see men always with a collared shirt, not non-teenagers men, right? And they were wearing a collared shirt or a polo, but like a collar, right? And they were wearing t-shirts and sweatshirts, and the women wearing sneakers, but not like cool, you know, Balenciaga looking trendy sneakers that are now, no. Like, I want to be comfortable, so I'm wearing a sneaker.
Yeah.
So I have absolutely seen this change, like, really clearly. Has this happened in Dubai as well? Because Dubai is also a place where people are very put together.
Yeah, Dubai is a very dressy place, and there is still people, of course, that would love to dress up to the toes. But I also see that. I also see people, for example, that are not wearing heels any longer. Like the heels are forgotten, you know, over there. And before we would use them for absolutely every event. Now we are looking more for comfort. We are looking more for flats. Sneakers too have taken big time. Also because we are getting a little bit more casual maybe with our dressing, because this is also something important. Even though now Dubai is open for business, we could say, because half of Spain is now in lockdown. Dubai is open for business, but we have a lot of cases. So we are very much aware when we are coming out, is because we have to, and we are coming, going, doing whatever we need to go and be back, you know? So there is a kind of like sense of, I'm not just gonna walk around or something of the sort. I'm doing this. I need to go do this, whether go to the bank or get some paperwork done or have this meeting with this person or whatever. He's coming, going, halas, that's it, you know? So that kind of like makes
spending 2 hours to get ready to go and back, it seems like a waste of time.
It's also because the other person is not isn't in the same position as you know. We are all trying to avoid, you don't go to the hairdresser, so sorry, hi guys, for my funky hair day, but we don't go to the hairdresser because why expose yourself if you don't need to, you know what I mean? Is it that important to have the hair all beautiful and stuff? Maybe you prefer, you balance the risk basically. Right now we're kind of like a little bit hiding a little bit from human interaction, and of course that shows also, you know, we're kind of like quick encounters. We talk about what we need to talk about and that's it, you know what I mean? So I think that's why the sneakers are great, because it also gives a sense of, okay, I'm here kind of like in a rush, you know, like I'm doing my stuff and then out, you know, and everybody is doing the same. I feel everybody is doing the same at this time in the month.
I think it's super interesting. I wonder if this is going to help somehow with, I don't know whether to call it dysmorphia, but I think a lot of women, especially women who do their makeup every day, it comes to a point where they do not recognize themselves without makeup, right? Which is kind of like some sort of body dysmorphia, and you identify yourself with the person with the makeup, and then when you see yourself as bare, you don't like it. Do you think that the fact that we are seeing ourselves and each other more barefaced these days, more natural, is going to help with that kind of dysmorphia and that kind of like psychological issues from disconnecting with that?
Well, I'm not very sure, because COVID has brought a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah, but different.
Many were kind of like hidden, and maybe they were in plain sight. But right now, really, there is a surge,
Yes,
big time surge when it comes to mental health issues. Having all this fear around us, you know, I'm a believer of the law of attraction and all that, and I think we've been infused with fear and stuff, and that's not good for us, for the perception of the world, for, you know, to change things. And I feel like we were not moving, you were not able to go to the gym. So I find now when we meet that many people would say like, oh, I put like 5 kilos because of COVID, you know, this kind of thing, because we were not moving. So I'm not very sure actually if the fact that maybe you are seeing your face without makeup is going to make a balance of well, I couldn't exercise as much as I used to, and now I feel a little bit more round, you know. And I'm hearing a lot about that. More than about the dysmorphia, maybe makeup dysmorphia, because I don't.
But I don't think you notice that. You know what I mean? I don't know if people notice. Not even private. I think it's something that happens and you don't realize. Like,
yeah.
I have a good friend that she used to back in the day, like always wear full face of makeup, and like even to the beach and everything. And she, like, I think she didn't recognize herself without it. And then she had eye surgery, and you cannot wear any makeup for like a month or so. I realized, I don't think I ever told her that. I realized that after that, she went easier on the makeup just because she used to see her face, and then it's like, oh, I look like shit today, because you don't, you know, like you get used to things, and the representation, the visual representation of things in your brain, it also changes, but you don't realize this. You just feel less shitty without makeup. I was good. I like to wear my makeup as well, but since I travel, because I mostly like to be in tropical countries where it's very hot and you sweat a lot, I don't do makeup every day whatsoever. Not that. Full production, even before I wouldn't do, but even just like a little bit. I look better with makeup, just like everybody else. I just don't like to have makeup on my face. But I have good skin.
This is also something that I wanted to talk about also when it comes to now how we are going back to basics, and how maybe we don't need, like, do you think we are embracing more now organic products and trying to go back to basics and only maybe do the line and, you know, these kind of things? Do you think we're going more back to that?
In terms of makeup? No.
When it comes to makeup, when it comes to creams, when it comes to
I don't know. I think I like
realize, well, I'm not spending that much money because we're not going out. There's no restaurants. There's no this. There's no parties. There's no. So I have more income. Maybe I spend it on more on beauty products that are of organic or very expensive ones. What do you think?
We
more now as we are
spending more also because we're bored and we need something to do. So I haven't had a skincare regime in my life, and now I do because I don't know what to do with my time. But this is 100% true. I'm 36 and I've started doing a skincare regime in 2020 because I'm horrible with keeping any sort of routine, but I just needed something to do. And now I do put like my serums and my eye cream and whatever. But the beauty thing probably is, we can do like a whole talk about that, because there's a few
with the fact that maybe we are getting back again to the organics, and maybe there is like a search into realizing how, for example, about sustainable fashion, how it actually, do you think the pandemic has helped to going back to the organics in beauty, in fashion, in even transportation, right? Because I don't know about you, but for example, I remember when Madrid was in lockdown, and I was seeing, there was some images that for me were striking. There was
wait, Ada.
Wow.
Ada, wait, can you repeat that? Because I think it's my connection, but it went down a little bit and we couldn't hear you. So just say it again for the people in the back.
for the people in the back and for the people that couldn't get it. So that it for me was very striking in Madrid when it was in lockdown, how nature took over, right? And I remember those images. There were some deers walking in the middle of the streets, in the middle of, I don't know if it was Gran Via or somewhere, but it was amazing to see. Like, wow, nature is taking over the city now that we are in the house, right? That kind of like already being in lockdown, you realize, okay, what is really important and what we are doing, and you're seeing like how the pollution levels were dropping, and how the animals were taking over, and how all these kind of the rivers were, everything was kind of like changing. It's like, wow, nature doesn't need that, it will correct itself eventually. But maybe we are the
I
ones that
mean,
are actually disrupting
if
all
we
this.
want to get dark, when this pandemic started, one of the things I was thinking is that this pandemic is nature's attempt to correct itself.
Yeah, I thought the
You
same.
know,
You were not the one thinking that. Yeah, we're being kind of like punished because
not punished, but nature has a way of self-regulating, and
this was one of it. It happened in
this
the past also.
might be, yeah. The thing is, to circle back to fashion.
So do you think that actually kind of like connected us, the fact that the pandemic maybe connected us more with kind of like, okay, definitely we're buying more comfortable clothes, but do you think maybe it's giving us more food for thought when it comes to what kind of fashion is good for the planet and not only for ourselves or for our pockets? Do you think that's something that is happening?
I think there's something that is happening, or rather it's something that has been accelerated because of the pandemic, because I don't think none of these thought processes are new. I think this is something that we've all been considering. Also, people have had more time for thinking. And when you have time for thinking, then you think about everything and you think about what's important. Then a few other factors that are happening. People have less money. So intentionally or unintentionally, people are choosing more carefully how they spend their money, and they are going to be choosing things that they are going to use, things that are going to last. And whether or not that is like their sustainability at the bottom of their intent, the result is increasing sustainability. However,
I agree with you.
The question is what's going to happen after the pandemic. Because, history repeats itself. And after the Great Depression in the 1919, right?
1929.
Well, after the pandemic of the Spanish flu became the Roaring Twenties, after the Great Depression, it became like, again, excess. And so
the wars for this.
How it's going to be interesting what happens after the pandemic is over, because our collective memory is very short span. So I want to believe that we're going to come the other end more committed to the things that we have realized are important, and more mindful about our actions, and more appreciative about the things that we have. But I will not bet money on it, because if history is any indication, that's not what happened. That's not to say that I think, oh, it's not going to happen, so why bother? I actually think that's why I wanted to do this kind of conversation, and that's what I try to communicate on sustainability as much as I can, because I think there is a way that we can still enjoy and be happy and like have fun without just leaving a broken planet for the generations that are coming. But I do think the approach of companies, and the approach of authorities, and the approach of people who are advocates needs to be a little bit less radicalized. I don't know if say it like that, but like, for example, it's easier to convince someone to choose a garment that they're going to be comfortable in and they're going to be able to wear, and that they're going to have them forever, and that you can wear with different things. That's an easier thing to sell to a consumer than buy this garment because it's better for the planet and the turtles are not going to die. And the result is the same. You know?
Well, the thing is that sustainable fashion doesn't need to be any different when it comes to design, when it comes to comfort, when it comes to anything really. It's a process what is different. It's not the piece doesn't need to be any different. The design
here I don't particularly agree. It's not my personal approach to sustainability. From my point of view, if this jacket, you know, had like this spiky huge shoulders here, and I cannot wear a bag with it, I'm gonna wear it less. It's gonna have less wears. I'm gonna have to have another jacket because, you know, I'm a human person that needs to move. So it's less sustainable, even if the production is the same. So I do think the design has to be different.
There is sustainable design, and there is also trends in sustainability. We also have patterns, and we also have colorful options and stuff. But it's true that our fashion normally translates into more timeless, and you can wear many times with many different, you can do many combinations. The concept of capsule collection, I think, is going to be coming big now, especially now. And I think that's important, but that's also part of sustainability at the end of the day, like having a little capsule collection with, as you're saying, a jacket that you can wear often, trousers that you can wear often. At the end of the day, in reality, the issue has been the consumerism and how very little we were using our clothes. And now with the pandemic, we were using even less our closet, right? So I think that actually kind of like changed dramatically how we are seeing fashion now. I think it's different, and it's a blessing in a way. We have the chance to use more what we have, or just get rid of it if we are not using it. They're giving a second life. There is amazing charity shops. There is amazing second-hand marketplace.
I think we need to normalize it.
Yeah, totally.
Again, I think we can talk about this some other day, but we need to normalize it. Like this blouse that I am wearing, for example, when I came, this is the first summer, this is the first winter that I am experiencing in 6 years. So when I arrived obviously, I got rid of most of my winter clothes. I donated them. So when I arrived here, I told my cousins and aunties, like, if you have winter stuff that you no longer use, can you give them to me, because I don't have anything. And this blouse was from my cousin, and she was not wearing it, and she was gonna, I think, donate it, and it looks great. It looks perfect. Fantastic. And most of the clothes that I own, I had them forever.
But you're pretty sustainable yourself. I think you live by the colors, really. Like you're a good example how to combine different things, and especially when you became a nomad and you got rid of most of your stuff. I was amazed how I could see like how creative you got with just a few things. You were doing so many different looks, and I think that's fantastic, really.
But if I'm being completely honest, I have been like this forever, and I haven't always cared about sustainability.
You don't need to care if it's underlying. If
no, but my point is that I know what looks good on me, because I not complaining whatsoever about my physique, but I don't have a very standard body type. So finding clothes that suit me is not easy. And I already know what looks good on me. So first of all, shopping for me was very stressful, because finding something that suits me takes forever. And I know how to sew, but I don't enjoy it. So I'm not going to spend my time doing things by myself. So I just ended up having the same things and just learning to combine it. So it was like an automatic thing. And eventually I realized that most of the things that I was doing were kind of, in a way, sustainability, but I hadn't processed. And then I consciously started changing other things. But I was doing these things because for me it made a lot of sense. And I know what looks good on me. I wouldn't care for fads, for stupid trends, but not because of, oh, that's stupid. It was like, this looks stupid on me, so I'm not gonna wear it because I look stupid. You know what I mean? And I understand people enjoy shopping and enjoy these things, but I also hope that now that they don't have the habit, like people don't have the habit of go shopping for a little something every week, I hope they stop also shopping for something a week. Like, again, if it's the thing that makes you the happiest in the world, then find another ways, like get together with your friends once a month and do like a clothes swap kind of stuff. Find ways, I don't want to ruin anybody's happiness, but buying a piece of garment every week is fundamentally stupid. It's unnecessary, and it does create a negative ripple effect. Yep. And then I see, like, don't you have friends as like, or people from your family is like, do you like this? It's new. And it's like, really? Because does it look like exactly the same, like 50 other stuff that you also have?
Yes, because we tend to repeat our purchase patterns. So true. Very, very true. Yeah. But
yeah.
But there is also something like, it's new. It cost me only 10 euros. And then it kills my heart slowly because like, it's not gonna last too much and stuff. So that's also, I think now maybe we get a little bit more wiser, because if we realize, in my case, I'm not gonna say I was a shopaholic. I was never a shopaholic, and I also like to shop things that would go with my body type and stuff. I had kind of like what you were saying, like, I know what works for me, and I had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's it. But it's true that I think now people look more for the quality, because they're not sure, how you rather invest in one piece instead of going buying every week. I think we are avoiding really to go buy every week. But online, what do you think about online? Because online, it feels harmless, and you're buying online, you may be overindulging, and then you have the returns. What do you think, Adela?
That's the thing, that people have been so bored. People have been so bored that they shop, but you don't shop. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm missing data. I would love to kind of steal ASOS data for the past 2 years and run some reports, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I would assume that no. Yeah, I would assume that they're selling more snugglies and more home. I did see an article about how homeware sales are increasing, because you want things that you use, right? I don't think nobody is going to be buying for, or not a lot of people is going to buy for things that they cannot wear. But I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought, and it was important. It was important. What we were talking about? We were talking about online shopping. Yeah. Oh yes, that a lot of people. The problem also with online shopping, I go back to my same like thing about sustainability and like wearing what looks good on you. Yeah. It's harder to shop because you cannot try things on, you cannot touch them. But fortunately there's a lot of people looking into that. I started mentoring. It's been super cool. I'm enjoying it so much. I started mentoring in a fashion tech startup bootcamp. So many words. Milan. Fashion tech startup bootcamp. Well, and I'm mentoring to Milan, right? The one in Milan. Yes, which is of course like remote this year. And I'm working with this company. It's called Best Look. And it's basically, they're trying to get the fashion consulting principles and turn it into an algorithm to help people find things that are going to look good for them, you know.
Okay.
Your color profile
like
and your
styling and all that, but
not so much styling, could be styling, but even going back to basics, because you work in fashion, so you have a certain know-how. And I've worked in fashion, so I know what looks good on me. How many people have that knowledge? How many people know this color looks good with my skin tone and this color doesn't? How many people know if you have a bigger chest size, you need a lower decolletage? Not a lot of people know. And actually, when we started working, like they had worked with, I will put it on the description in YouTube afterwards, the URL, so you can go and check them out. But when I started working with them, all the copy and the pictures, they had been selected by someone who works in like high fashion, and it was all very editorial, you know. It was like models and with awesome outfits and things very trendy. And I was talking with the founder, Adriana. I'm also very excited that both of the startup I'm working with are female led.
Wow.
And this is rare in fashion, and even more rare in fashion tech.
Yeah.
Anyway, refocusing. And I was saying why this looks great, but the people who have the problem that you're talking about are not gonna feel represented with these pictures. The people who you can help the most is people who try on 5 basic t-shirts and none of them looks good on them because it's the wrong neckline or it's the wrong sleeve length. And that's like the massive majority of purchases that are done. The 80% of the budget of fashion companies goes into buying basics. Like for the trendier t-shirt, maybe I buy 1,000 units, and for the basic black t-shirt, I'm buying 20,000. Why are you creating a search engine for the 1,000? Create a search engine for the 20,000 and address those 20,000, right? And that's a problem I see in general with fashion innovation. But that's another thing. But yeah, the problem with the pandemic and people shopping online is people who had never shopped online in their life because they don't like it, because they don't know how that's going to look on them, because they don't know how to choose their size, because they are having to buy online and then they're having to return things because they don't know how to shop.
Yeah, true. And yeah, that's very true.
How have you?
What we try to do with the returns, what we do, if they are in Dubai, what we do, we try to, when we are delivering, we try to have the size and maybe one more, one less. It depends if we have those available, and then we wait outside for them to try it on and confirm. But that's, you can do if you are locally and your client is local, but it cannot work internationally.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's ways
concierge, but it's kind of like a little bit concierge fashion, but we like it, and our clients also appreciate that, so we are very happy to be able to do that.
Well, what I wanted to ask you.
I love this thing that you are doing about the mentoring. It's so interesting, Adela.
I love it so
much. I'm so happy that you are helping others, because I know how, how your brain is just like, I know they're gonna really learn a lot with you.
I like this a lot. I'm a firm believer in innovation, and I think most people do it wrong. Yeah. And so I'm really enjoying this, and I want to do more. So we'll see.
It should be more like this, because, for example, this one of Milan is, I knew about it because there's not many happening. There's not many fashion mentoring.
Let's start one, Araceli, but I have too many things going on right now. but let's talk about it.
There should be more. So people out there,
if it should be more, and this is something that I've been thinking about, because again, with most things, I think it could be done better. Don't get me wrong, they're doing a fantastic job at Startup Bootcamp, and they're super well connected, and they have connections with really, really important companies. But I think they have taken more or less the same format than they use for the other tech bootcamps, and fashion is a little bit different.
Yeah, this is always what happens. People think that fashion is the same, and it's very, very different.
So I do have that idea of maybe starting an accelerator, but I can't at the moment. You know, this is a 2022 Adela problem. Yeah.
It just blew my mind with another of your projects.
No, this is more like a wish list. But I wanted to, so we don't take like forever. We've been talking for an hour.
Yeah. Wow.
But I wanted just to talk about, because we've been talking mostly about the consumer and how our habits are changing. I just want to touch a little bit on the fashion brands, because they had to adapt a lot as well, right? Yeah. And we could go on for hours, but just from your perspective, because I know that you yourself had to adapt pretty quickly your model. So how did you address what challenges did the pandemic pose on your business model, and how did you adapt?
Well, you see, what I was telling you, there were some categories that were basically not moving at all. And when you think of that, think of who is behind. You know, in my case, we work with independent designers and small fashion brands that are slow, sustainable, or socially responsible, right? Or 3Ss. So, there is not only, oh, this dress is not selling. Oh, what a shame. No, it's not like that. There is a designer, there is a family, there is a little atelier behind, there is all the supply chain that goes behind. And because we are working and it's closer to us, we know the bigger impact that it's having. So in our case, we had to adapt. People were not buying certain categories. We created the category of the mask, and we started producing masks.
The mask, you mean the face masks? Do you have some over there so you can show them?
Oh, let me see. Well, I'm in the house, so let me 1 minute see if I have one. Hold on.
While she goes get them, so she started developing this face mask with a local designer and many. Well, she can explain it when she comes here. Why am I talking about her things? Yes, I started explaining, but then I thought it was stupid and you should talk about it yourself.
Sorry, I'm back. Had them in the room, but I was not really close to me. So yes, so we have. Oh, today I'm wearing everything red. You realize I'm such a. So yeah, we had a mask, and it worked very, very well. This is what saved us and kept us going during the COVID.
Ah, look at that! Can you put it closer to the camera so we can see the pattern?
This is one Christmas edition that we did. It's super cute. Yeah, but we also have, like this is ultra slow fashion. We do them on demand, right? So basically we have a catalog of different fabrics and we strive for zero waste. So when the client orders, we give them the catalog. They choose, okay, we want this side on this fabric on one side and we want this other fabric on the other side. It's funny, this one looks red in there, but it's pinky. So the colors are changing, I guess. So, and so it's ultra slow fashion basically. And it's keeping our ateliers busy, keeping our designers busy, and helping another set of people that normally are very forgotten, which are actually the textile traders. Dubai is small, is very small when it comes to production, and we have.
Oh no, you're frozen.
Like some focus
there you go.
Areas like Satwa, for example, but they have a. Oh, you okay, Adela?
Yeah. Now we can hear you.
Okay. So it's Satwa, for example, is one area of Dubai where most of textile traders are there. And when we visited them after COVID, when lockdown finished, they were in very bad shape. Basically, some shops had to close down, and it was heartbreaking because those are business that have been there for 40 years. And to see that some of them were not surviving the pandemic, it was really bad. Because of course, the fashion, if the designers are not buying clothes, then they are not doing sales. Then the whole supply chain is going down the drain. So,
and this is going to
a way to support them.
This is a B-side of, if we do go towards a slower consumerism and a more conscious buying, in the midterm, everything is going to equilibrate, find its balance. But in the short term, the need for less things is the need for less people doing things. So I'm not saying like all of the tailors are going to disappear, but what happens here normally is like a filter. It acts like a filter. So the best tailors will survive and will grow, and then the people who fail to adapt or to innovate will not make it. And that,
then again, here is the best tailors, or the ones that can adapt to the pressing need at the moment. For example,
exactly,
many couture tailors that are amazing and are super skilled, and they were doing amazing wedding dresses and amazing couture. They will not do mask, or they will not do hospital attire and stuff. And they're getting out of business because they are not able to adapt, because their skill set is different. They do embroideries and they do all these kind of things, and it's very different to what is required.
No, but I don't. That's, again, if this is the first video that someone is watching, and because you come from Goshopia, this is how I talk and can be a bit aggressive. That's not a good reason. That's poor management. Because if what you do is embroidery, then you do houseware with beautiful embroidery. Because I've seen there's a brand that I love in Spain. It's a girl that does them by hand. They're like these beautiful headpieces. It's called Puntulina Tocados. Maybe you want to get in contact with them. And she does this like out of a fairy tale, amazing headpieces for weddings. And because they were not weddings, this girl started doing like things to put on the walls and lamps and things. So you can use your skill set for, I mean, not always, but in most scenarios, you can use your skill set for the current circumstances. But if you are so tough-headed that you said, no, I do wedding dresses and all I want to do are wedding dresses, yes, you're going to go bankrupt. But that's not because there's not a possibility for you. That's because you're failing to adapt.
It's about adapting, because
you don't necessarily have to do face masks.
Yeah, no, there's many other things that can be done. But what I mean is, like, we really need to be open, and no matter.
But it's also, this is also law of life. And after every significant industrial revolution, and after every significant crisis, and this happens every few years because that's law of life, those who fail to adapt do not, and those who manage to adapt on those dying industries are the ones that persist. Because when Amazon started, they said they're killing all of the bookstores, and they killed all of the bookstores, and now they're selling books, physical books. So if one of those bookstores, imagine one of those bookstores decided to do like Amazon is doing now, and allowing independent authors to publish their own things, maybe they will have survived. But nobody had that idea. Amazon had that idea.
Well, and the leverage is important also.
What?
But let me ask you one thing that it comes with this about adapting our skills and everything. Something that I saw during the pandemic, and I took part of that too, is how everybody enroll and did like a zillion courses and master classes and all that. Do you think actually the time that we were saving in commuting, in working more flexible hours and having, in a way, maybe, do you think it's gonna help us to grow as, like all this education that we have gotten during the pandemic and how we were aware now of things? Do you think it's gonna do any change in the future, or do you think it was just like to pass the time and that's it? What do you think?
I think it's going to come down to individual experiences, because I don't think everyone, I think you need to be on a particular mindset to say, oh, I'm going to use this time to learn, because a lot of people has lost their jobs, and a lot of people, when I started working remotely and I won a lot of time out of my daily commute, this was because of something that I chose. It's getting windy. This was because of something that
amazing.
I chose.
You look like an Amazon
like
with
Beyonce moment right now. This was my decision. This was something that I chose. So I did think, oh, I have an extra time. And then you use that and then you utilize it. But if, let's say, you are a mother, but my point is like, imagine that you are a mother, but you were working from home before. So yes,
and then I started,
but I mean, you are not working for somebody else and having to go to an office and things like that. And yes, of course, if your child is at home, then it's adding extra pressure. But both you and your husband had the chance to, it was like an easy transition, let's say, or an easier transition. But there has been people who had to either still go and they're very scared of going, or transition in a very difficult way. Like the boyfriend of one of my best friends, and he's like an art director for graphic design for like an agency, like an advertisement agency, I think. He's working from home. His job he could very well do from home, and the whole agency is working from home, and they have to be connected non-stop to a video conference with the camera on. Like, what is that? What is that? So
as closest as it gets to be in the office, right?
Not even worse, because when you're in the office, you don't have your whole team in front of your freaking face looking at you. And anyway, my point is, for some people, this didn't feel like you got more time, like you got more issues. Like a lot of people didn't know how they were going to pay rent. So I don't know. I think some people are noticing the chances, but
when you are a mom, is critical, because suddenly your children are not going to school and you have to entertain them, and
not only entertain and teach them,
have to work, and you have to help them with school, and you have really, when it comes to, I don't know how in English conciliation, but it's terrible,
But I think they say work-life balance. They say balance.
Work-life balance.
Yeah.
So it's totally unbalanced. Let me.
and Alegria is still young, so she mostly needs attention. But I have friends that have children which are a little bit older, and they need to teach the children. So again, I think for people, I'm gonna say like me, who I am in a privileged position where I can very easily transition to work from home, where I do not need to leave my house if I don't want to for 3 weeks. Of course, I've had challenges as well. I was working mostly with people in the travel industry when this thing started. So like 80% of my income went away one day from another. But I have had a good first quarter, so I could go on. And I was living in Vietnam, so life was super cheap. I have no mortgage to pay. I have no children to feed. Even if I have to, start from zero, I am I have been in a very privileged position, and I'm fully aware of that. So I have learned things, and I've started new things. I started writing the book that you're writing the foreword for. I've never in my life thought about writing a book, and then look at that. But so yes, I think you could do that, and I think certainly people who have had the privilege of finding themselves in a situation where of course their life is going to be affected, but not their livelihood has not been affected that much from the pandemic. They're gonna be able to search. But I feel uncomfortable generalizing this idea because I know the big majority of people, it's in a very difficult situation. I've seen people like saying this kind of, I call it productivity porn, that say, if you don't come out of this pandemic, with whatever, like, no, like people are struggling. Don't put extra unnecessary pressures on yourself.
No need at all.
Well, I always get existentialist somehow. Okay, to close, because you and I, we can be talking for
3 days and a half.
Yeah, I think are the interviews you did for me for your podcast the longest that you have in history?
I think so. I had to edit so much because it exceeded the time a lot. I had to cut them in pieces and stuff.
To end this call, out of the things that had been forced into our life because of the pandemic, what would you wish that we still carry with us, let's say 5 years from now?
I think the time to reflect has been a privilege for all of us, even if maybe it was in a difficult situation. I think to have time for really think instead of getting anesthetized with events or with Netflix or stuff. If you really put the time for reflection and stuff, I think that was very valuable for me during the quarantine. Spend quality time with my family. Yeah, it's mindfulness. See what is really important and spending time with my family, kind of like connecting back. Even simple things like I'm going to be cooking, I'm going to be doing something very delicious, instead of let's just go out or whatever. No, it changed your process. You are not in a hurry, because even if you have,
where are you gonna go
stuff, you're not going anywhere, so you kind of like take your time to do things. You cook with love, you do your meetings with love, you spend time with your family in love. So it's kind of like I really appreciate that, and I hope we are able to keep that throughout, because
yes,
if there is something that I was missing when we started coming out back again, was like that, like this is something nice that I learned, because normally I'm a very accelerated person. I run from one place to another, and actually not to have to run, and suddenly I realized, oh my god, maybe 2 or 3 hours out of my day is coming going, organizing, unorganizing, la 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 la. And now it's like just one click on Zoom and that's it, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. I totally agree. And another thing that I would like to see that we continue is, I think there has been a humanizing effect. Like, we understand that our employees are also people, that we understand our leaders are also people. There's nothing more humanizing than a toddler walking in and showing something to. So I think there has been this kind of humanizing effect of the pandemic in work, in leadership, and I would like that to continue, because it gives us a sense of empathy that makes everything better. It goes online with what you're saying of understanding what's important. And I really hope this continues and people keep seeing co-workers and employees and leaders and citizens and as people, and not just as whatever their effect is on our life directly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's important. And I also think that we need to realize about our impact and how we impact one another, how connected we are. Like, remember, Adela, when they first started talking on TV about this Chinese virus, and it felt like it was super far away and it will never reach us and it will never affect us. And it would be kind of like, and then 2 months later, the whole world was in lockdown.
I was in Philippines.
How connected we are.
I was in Philippines when this happened, and when this started, because I had seen the Bill Gates talk, and I got obsessed with this virus because I was very close to China. There were a lot of Chinese people where I was staying, and I remember, well, not in January, but I remember in April talking like things were already like, and I was telling my family and my friends that I think we have enough pandemic for at least 1.5 years. And people were telling me that I was crazy and it was going to be over by the summer. And it's like, it's going to be go with they're saying that it's going to be go with the heat. And I was, Dad, it's 35 degrees in here. The heat doesn't care. It's 36 degrees inside your body.
Yeah.
Anyway,
very true.
We will collectively, hopefully also personally, knock on wood, I don't have any wood, but collectively we will survive this, and we will see the effects of that. Exactly what they are long term, it's hard to see, but I think it's important to notice the effect that it's having right now, and then make choices based on whatever options we have.
Yeah.
Don't know if that makes a lot of sense. It makes sense in my head. Anyway, I think this is enough. Or is there anything else you want to say?
No, that's about it, really. we need to leave something for the next one, right?
Yeah. It's been like almost an hour and a half. So
sorry, guys.
I'm assuming people is going to be watching this mostly like maybe like a podcast, because it's a long time just to watch two ladies with a strong Spanish accent talking about stuff. If the captions are not really understanding our accent. Anyway, thank you so much, Ada. I'm really excited of doing this.
Me too.
What is the next topic? I forgot.
I don't have it here with me.
Okay. So next month we have a secret new topic we're going to be talking about. It's not secret. I just don't.
But we are not really.
I don't remember that. I'll put it in. I put it in the.
But if you guys want us to be talking about anything, just put it down there and we will.
Yep. In the description, I will put the date and the topic for next talk. Thank you very much. I'm so excited. And whoever is watching this, whether you're watching us live or you're watching it later, thank you so much for watching.
So much.
If you like this, please subscribe and put on the notifications, thumbs up, all those things, comment, give us some love. And and if you want to reach us, I'm going to also put in the description all our socials, both Araceli's and mine, and we'd love to hear from you. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How does the pandemic affected you? Are you still putting on a little bit of a mascara in order to work from home, or are you going full, troll? Which is how I look. This is not a shade. I go the troll route most days, unless I have a cold. Anyway, thank you very much.
I have a trick. And
are you going to tell the secret?
Yes, there is a secret. And there is a filter in, what's the name of it? The Snap camera.
You download Snapcam.
Snapcam, you download it and you select the filter and it puts makeup on you and everything. So it's really, really cool. You don't need, you can be a troll and still look beautiful and Zoom call.
You can also look like, there's filters that make you look like a troll if that's your jam.
You can choose.
Choices. Anyway, thank you. And we're going to stop talking now because I don't think neither of us has eaten yet. So sending kisses and goodbye. I'm going to stop the live now. Just don't go anywhere yet. You?
Okay. I say put.
Bye.